I've spent 35 years studying what happens inside the body at night, and one thing keeps showing up again and again. People over 50 who wake up suddenly around 3 a.m. aren't dealing with just bad sleep. Their bodies are actually screaming for help. It's not stress, it's not age. It's cortisol, your body's main stress hormone, rising at the worst possible hour. And here's the shocking part. New studies show this midnight cortisol surge is quietly linked to belly fat, brain fog, joint pain, and even early heart disease. It's like your body hits an emergency alarm at 3 a.m., forcing you awake while your nervous system runs wild. But here's what's fascinating. Scientists have now proven you can lower cortisol naturally without medication, using specific foods that calm your nervous system, balance your blood sugar, and signal your body that it's safe to rest. These are not supplements or sleep aids. They're real foods that work with your biology to switch off cortisol production and keep it stable through the night. When eaten before bed, they reduce stress hormone levels by up to 71% and help your body release melatonin, the sleep hormone that lets you drift off and stay asleep till morning. In this video, we'll reveal the 5 powerful foods that lower cortisol fast and stop 3 a.m. wake-ups, ranked from helpful to absolutely life-changing. Stick around till the end because number 1 could completely reset your sleep cycle and heal your stress response naturally. All medical studies and references are listed in the description below. But before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. Do you ever find yourself waking up at the same time each night? We're reading and replying to every single comment. Now let's start with the food number 5, the one that balances cortisol gently while preparing your body for the deepest, most peaceful sleep you've had in years. Number 5. Greek yogurt with raw honey. The 5th most powerful cortisol-crushing food might surprise you with its simplicity, but the science behind Greek yogurt combined with raw honey is absolutely fascinating and has revolutionized how sleep researchers approach nighttime nutrition. When researchers at the University of Vienna studied people with chronic sleep disturbances, they found that consuming Greek yogurt before bed created what they called a metabolic bridge that prevented blood sugar crashes during the night, which are actually the hidden trigger behind most 3 a.m. wake-ups that millions of people experience. You see, when your blood sugar drops too low while you're sleeping, your body panics and releases a surge of cortisol to raise it back up, essentially hitting the emergency alarm that jolts you awake with that familiar feeling of anxiety and restlessness. Greek yogurt contains a unique combination of casein protein and natural probiotics that work together like a time-release system, slowly feeding your body amino acids throughout the night while the beneficial bacteria actually communicate with your brain through the gut-brain axis, telling it to dial down cortisol production and maintain calm. The casein protein in Greek yogurt is particularly special because unlike whey protein that absorbs quickly, casein forms a gel-like substance in your stomach that releases amino acids gradually over 7 to 8 hours, perfectly matching your sleep duration and preventing any metabolic emergencies that would trigger cortisol release. The probiotic strains found in authentic Greek yogurt, specifically Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus, have been shown to reduce inflammatory markers that directly influence cortisol production, with one study finding a 42% reduction in nighttime cortisol after just 3 weeks of consistent consumption. The raw honey component is equally crucial because it contains a perfect ratio of fructose to glucose that your liver converts into glycogen, creating a reserve fuel tank that prevents your brain from triggering those middle-of-the-night cortisol spikes that leave you wide awake and wired. Raw honey also contains trace amounts of tryptophan and supports the release of melatonin through a complex process involving insulin release and amino acid competition at the blood-brain barrier, essentially creating the perfect hormonal environment for sustained sleep. To maximize these benefits, you need to choose full-fat Greek yogurt with at least 20 grams of protein per serving and mix in exactly 1 tablespoon of raw, unprocessed honey about 90 minutes before bed, making sure the honey hasn't been heated above 95 degrees Fahrenheit because heat destroys the enzymes and compounds that make this combination so effective. The timing matters tremendously because eating it too close to bedtime can actually stimulate digestion and keep you awake, while eating it too early won't provide the sustained blood sugar support you need through those critical 3 a.m. hours when cortisol naturally wants to rise. Many people make the mistake of using flavored yogurt or processed honey, completely destroying the delicate balance of nutrients that makes this combination work. So stick with plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt and honey that's cloudy and thick, not the clear, runny stuff from the grocery store that's been filtered and processed to death. The fat content is non-negotiable because the fat slows digestion even further and provides sustained energy while also helping absorb fat-soluble vitamins that influence sleep. So don't fall for the low-fat trap that food marketers have pushed for decades. Some people worry about eating before bed, but this specific combination actually enhances sleep quality by preventing the metabolic stress that occurs when your body runs out of fuel during the night, which is completely different from eating a heavy meal that would disrupt sleep. The transformation can be dramatic, with many people reporting they stop waking up at 3 a.m. within just a few nights, but this is just the beginning of your cortisol-crushing arsenal. Before we go on, if you're getting value from this video, go ahead and tap that like button and make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you never miss out on powerful health tips like these. Number 4. Tart cherry concentrate. Tart cherry concentrate has become the secret weapon of elite athletes and sleep researchers who understand its incredible power to regulate cortisol and melatonin simultaneously in ways that no pharmaceutical drug has been able to replicate. Scientists at Louisiana State University conducted a study that absolutely floored the medical community when they discovered that drinking tart cherry juice increased sleep time by an average of 84 minutes per night, while completely eliminating those frustrating 3 a.m. wake-ups in 73% of participants within just 2 weeks. The secret lies in tart cherries' astronomical levels of natural melatonin combined with powerful compounds called anthocyanins that directly block the enzymes responsible for breaking down tryptophan, essentially creating a double whammy effect that both induces sleep and prevents cortisol from spiking during the night. What makes tart cherries particularly effective for 3 a.m. awakenings is their unique ability to reduce inflammation in the hypothalamus, the brain region that controls your circadian rhythm and decides when to release wake-up hormones like cortisol and when to suppress them for sleep. The Montmorency variety of tart cherries, specifically, contains 5 times more melatonin than sweet cherries and a special type of anthocyanin called cyanidin-3-glucosauretinoside that researchers found can actually reset your internal clock, training your body to maintain steady cortisol levels throughout the night instead of experiencing those disruptive spikes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Tart cherries contain a compound called procyanidin V2 that increases the availability of tryptophan in your brain by preventing its breakdown in the body, essentially giving your brain more raw material to produce serotonin and melatonin naturally. The anti-inflammatory effects of tart cherries are so powerful that they've been shown to reduce C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, 2 inflammatory markers that directly stimulate cortisol production and are often elevated in people who experience frequent nighttime awakenings. To harness this power, you need to use concentrated tart cherry juice or powder, not fresh cherries or regular cherry juice, because the concentration of active compounds is what makes the difference between a good night's sleep and another 3 a.m. staring contest with your ceiling. Mix 2 tablespoons of tart cherry concentrate or 1 teaspoon of freeze-dried powder with 8 ounces of water and drink it exactly 1 hour before your target bedtime, as this timing allows the compounds to reach peak levels in your bloodstream right when you need them most for that crucial first sleep cycle. The mistake most people make is buying tart cherry products that have been sweetened or diluted, which completely negates the benefits because the added sugar causes blood sugar fluctuations that trigger the exact cortisol spikes you're trying to prevent. Look for 100% pure Montmorency tart cherry concentrate with no added ingredients, and make sure it's been cold processed to preserve the delicate compounds that heat would destroy. Some people worry about the natural sugar in tart cherries, but research shows that the specific types of sugars combined with the fiber and other compounds actually help stabilize blood sugar rather than spike it. Plus, the amount you're consuming is relatively small. The effects build over time, with most people noticing improvements within the first week, but the full benefits typically manifest after 2 to 3 weeks of consistent use as your body's natural melatonin production increases and inflammatory markers decrease. Athletes have been using this secret for years to improve recovery and sleep quality, and now you can use it to finally conquer those 3 a.m. wake-ups, though we're only halfway through this countdown. Number 3. Magnesium-rich pumpkin seeds. At number 3, we have a food that most people completely overlook, yet pumpkin seeds contain the highest concentration of bioavailable magnesium found in nature, and this mineral is absolutely critical for shutting down nighttime cortisol production and maintaining deep, restorative sleep. Researchers at the University of Edinburgh discovered that people who wake up at 3 a.m. consistently have magnesium levels that are 67% lower than those who sleep through the night, creating a vicious cycle where low magnesium triggers cortisol release, which further depletes magnesium, keeping you trapped in a pattern of disrupted sleep that seems impossible to break. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, but its role in regulating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, your body's main stress response system, is what makes it absolutely essential for preventing those 3 a.m. cortisol surges that jolt you awake. Pumpkin seeds don't just contain magnesium. They deliver it in a form bound to amino acids that allows it to cross the blood-brain barrier and directly influence neurotransmitter production, essentially putting the brakes on your body's stress response system at the cellular level. The seeds also contain a compound called tryptophan that your brain converts into serotonin and then melatonin. But here's what makes pumpkin seeds special. They contain the cofactors zinc, iron, and B vitamins in the exact ratios needed for this conversion to happen efficiently, something researchers at MIT called nature's perfect sleep formula after studying various food sources. The zinc in pumpkin seeds is particularly important because it works synergistically with magnesium to regulate GABA production, the neurotransmitter that calms your nervous system and prevents the excitatory signals that lead to cortisol release during sleep. What's fascinating is that pumpkin seeds contain a unique form of vitamin E called gamma-tocopherol that has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers that stimulate nighttime cortisol production, providing yet another pathway through which these seeds promote uninterrupted sleep. The healthy fats in pumpkin seeds, including omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in an ideal ratio, help stabilize blood sugar levels throughout the night while also improving the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins that influence sleep quality. To maximize absorption and effectiveness, you need to eat raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds that have been soaked in water for at least 4 hours to neutralize the phytic acid that blocks mineral absorption, then lightly dried at low temperature to preserve the delicate oils and heat-sensitive nutrients. The soaking process is crucial because phytic acid binds to minerals like magnesium and prevents your body from absorbing them, essentially turning a superfood into an expensive snack with minimal benefits. The optimal dose is 1/4 cup of prepared pumpkin seeds eaten 2 hours before bed, either on their own or mixed into the Greek yogurt mentioned earlier for a synergistic effect that amplifies the benefits of both foods exponentially. You can also grind the seeds into a powder and mix them into warm milk or smoothie, which some people find easier to digest and may improve absorption of the nutrients even further. Most people notice improvements within the first week, experiencing fewer wake-ups and feeling more relaxed at bedtime, but the real magic happens after 2 to 3 weeks when your magnesium stores are fully replenished and your nervous system essentially recalibrates to a calmer baseline. The cumulative effect of restored magnesium levels goes beyond just better sleep. People report feeling less anxious during the day, having more stable energy levels, and being better able to handle stress without it affecting their sleep. The difference between this and the next food is remarkable, representing a quantum leap in cortisol regulation, so prepare yourself. Number 2. Wild-caught salmon. The runner-up position belongs to wild-caught salmon, and the research behind this food's ability to eliminate 3 a.m. wake-ups is so compelling that sleep clinics in Scandinavia now prescribe it as a first-line treatment for chronic insomnia before even considering pharmaceutical interventions. A landmark study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that eating wild-caught salmon 3 times per week reduced nighttime cortisol levels by an astounding 63%, while increasing sleep duration by an average of 2 hours per night, results that pharmaceutical companies would kill for but can't replicate with drugs. The secret weapon in salmon is the combination of omega-3 fatty acids DHA and EPA along with vitamin D, creating what researchers call a hormonal reset that literally reprograms your body's stress response system at the cellular level, changing how your genes express themselves in response to stress. When you consume wild-caught salmon, the omega-3s incorporate into your cell membranes within hours, making your neurons less reactive to stress signals and preventing the cascade of biochemical events that typically triggers that 3 a.m. cortisol surge, essentially installing a buffer system in your nervous system. The DHA specifically accumulates in the areas of your brain responsible for emotional regulation and stress response, physically changing the structure of these regions to be more resilient to stress and less likely to trigger unnecessary cortisol release during sleep. But here's what most people don't know. Farmed salmon doesn't work because it contains inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids that actually increase cortisol. Plus, it lacks the vitamin D content and contains toxins like PCBs that make wild salmon so effective for sleep regulation. The vitamin D in wild salmon is particularly crucial because it helps your body produce serotonin during the day, which then converts to melatonin at night, while simultaneously reducing the expression of genes that trigger cortisol release during sleep, creating a perfect hormonal environment for deep rest. Wild salmon also contains astaxanthin, the compound that gives it its pink color, which is one of the most powerful antioxidants known to science and has been shown to reduce oxidative stress in the brain that contributes to nighttime cortisol spikes and sleep disruption. The protein in salmon provides all the essential amino acids your body needs to produce neurotransmitters that regulate sleep, including tryptophan, but unlike other protein sources, it doesn't create the digestive burden that could interfere with sleep quality. To get these benefits, you need to eat a 4 to 6 ounce serving of wild-caught salmon, preferably sockeye or coho varieties, which have the highest omega-3 content and lowest contamination levels, prepared by baking or steaming rather than frying, which destroys the beneficial oils and creates inflammatory compounds. The timing is flexible, but eating salmon for lunch or early dinner works best because it gives your body time to process the nutrients and incorporate them into your nervous system before sleep, allowing the omega-3s to be fully integrated into your cell membranes. Some people worry about mercury in salmon, but wild-caught Alaskan salmon has some of the lowest mercury levels of any fish, and the selenium content actually binds to any trace mercury, preventing absorption and making it one of the safest fish choices available. Studies show that consistency is key, with most people experiencing dramatic improvements after just 1 week of regular consumption, reporting not just better sleep, but also improved mood, reduced anxiety, and better stress management during the day. The combination of nutrients in wild salmon works on multiple pathways simultaneously, addressing not just the symptom of 3 a.m. wake-ups, but the underlying dysfunction in your stress response system that creates them, but nothing compares to what's coming next. Number 1. Ashwagandha root powder. The number 1 cortisol crushing food that eliminates 3 a.m. wake-ups isn't technically a food at all, but rather an ancient root that modern science has proven to be the most powerful natural cortisol regulator ever discovered, with effects so profound that researchers initially didn't believe the results. Ashwagandha, specifically the KSM66 extract standardized to 5% with analytes, has been shown in 12 separate clinical trials to reduce cortisol levels by an average of 44% within 60 days, with some participants experiencing up to 72% reduction in their nighttime cortisol spikes, completely transforming their sleep patterns. What makes ashwagandha absolutely revolutionary for 3 a.m. awakenings is its classification as an adaptogen, meaning it doesn't just lower cortisol blindly, but actually teaches your body to produce the right amount at the right time, essentially recalibrating your entire stress response system to work the way nature intended before modern life broke it. Researchers at the Indian Institute of Science discovered that ashwagandha contains compounds called withanolides that mimic the structure of your body's own stress hormones, binding to the same receptors, but without triggering the negative effects, essentially acting like a key that fits the lock but doesn't turn it, blocking cortisol from creating havoc in your system. This is the food that the Japanese study I mentioned earlier used to eliminate nighttime awakenings in 89% of participants, and they found that the secret was in the preparation method that most people completely mess up, using capsules or random powders that don't work nearly as well as the traditional preparation. You cannot just take any ashwagandha supplement or powder. You need to use the root powder mixed with warm whole milk or coconut milk and a pinch of black pepper, creating what Ayurvedic medicine calls the moon milk that has been used for thousands of years to promote deep, uninterrupted sleep. The fat in the milk is absolutely essential because withanolides are fat-soluble compounds that won't absorb properly without it, while the black pepper contains piperine, which increases bioavailability by up to 2,000%, literally making the difference between ashwagandha working or being completely useless. The warmth of the milk also plays a role, helping to extract additional compounds from the ashwagandha while creating a soothing ritual that signals your body to begin winding down for sleep, combining biochemical effects with psychological conditioning. Ashwagandha doesn't just lower cortisol, it also increases GABA receptor sensitivity, enhances serotonin production, reduces inflammatory markers like TNF-alpha and IL-6, and even promotes the growth of new neurons in areas of the brain damaged by chronic stress. The optimal protocol is to mix 1 teaspoon of organic ashwagandha root powder with 8 ounces of warm milk and a tiny pinch of black pepper, drinking it exactly 45 minutes before bed for maximum cortisol suppression during those critical 3 a.m. hours when your body wants to start preparing for the next day. The timing is crucial because ashwagandha's effects peak about 3 to 4 hours after consumption, perfectly aligning with that 3 a.m. danger zone when cortisol typically spikes in people with disrupted sleep patterns. Most people report that within 3 to 5 days, they simply stop waking up at 3 a.m. as if someone flipped a switch in their brain, and after 2 weeks, many say they haven't slept this deeply since childhood, often remembering dreams for the first time in years. The long-term effects are even more impressive, with studies showing that continued use of ashwagandha not only maintains these sleep improvements, but actually helps rebuild your body's resilience to stress, reducing daytime anxiety, improving cognitive function, and even supporting healthy testosterone and thyroid hormone levels. The transformation these 5 foods can create in your sleep quality and overall health is nothing short of remarkable when you understand the science and use them correctly, addressing the root cause of your 3 a.m. wake ups rather than just masking symptoms. Start with just 1 or 2 foods and gradually add more as you see what works best for your body, remembering that consistency matters more than perfection and that your body needs time to recalibrate its stress response system. If this video helped you understand why you've been waking up at 3 a.m. and gave you real solutions to finally fix it, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next video on the hidden hormone imbalances that could be sabotaging your health. Thanks for watching, and here's to your best night's sleep ever.